Before we start with sperm, I need to tell you that I miss you, big man. Don't forget to like and share. Because today's summary is serious. An invincible monster, a force that cannot be returned or destroyed. He brings together a team of the most powerful people in the world. He also starts a war to eliminate evil and magic. Our film today begins with an ancient Greek tale about the legendary hero Hercules, the son of the legendary god Zeus, who cannot be stopped by a lion, nor can any beasts care about him, nor can an earthquake or deer's antlers calm him down. We know how he was born and that all the gods blessed him and said that he is the promised one, Al-Zahir Khleesi. This stubborn person used to protect his mother from a young age. The gods asked him to spread an important mission, and he was able to defeat them all. The first was that it would eliminate the sea, and he can actually defeat him. It also turns him from a dragon into a cockroach. Then I had the face of the Galilean beast and was able to cut off its head and kill it until the last mission, which was with a lion that could neither be defeated nor defeated. But Hercules is able to talk to him, and the person talking about all this comes out, and his name is Roy. This is still Hercules' cousin, and everything he says is basically dialogue to scare people away from Hercules. They will slowly hold the boy and raise him so that they will make him sit on the stake. He kept telling them all this about the legend of Hercules in order to tell them to leave him alone, or else Hercules would come and destroy them all. They make fun of him and say that there is no such thing as Hercules, and all he says is just child's play. They were still going to kill him as they saw a shadow coming from afar. And who is left? This looks like Hercules. He was wearing the horns of the lion that killed him. Hercules tells the pirate king that he is coming to get them out of this land. He will also take money from the king, intending to get them out. When Roy sees his cousin while they are hanging, he tells them that he will also take this boy and will not let them kill him. The pirate king gets upset and tells his men to kill Relentless, but our monster can eliminate 5 of them with just one hand. They thought he was coming alone until the rest of Hercules' team flourished, which consists of 4 people and blooms one after the other. The first one is Maru, the second is a club, and the third is a league. The last one's name is Armanda. So, no one can stand in front of her when shooting arrows or running because she is so fast. And they start the battle with the pirates. They are able to easily defeat Roy and take him with them. As a worker narrated, Hercules shows that he walks and talks everywhere. Suddenly Hercules finds a child coming running towards him. This remains the son of Jamila. He also tells him that he loves him very much and knows all his stories, all the requests that the gods asked of him. He also dreams that one day he will be as strong as him. Hercules remains inside the king's room, but the commander asks him whether he had met a king before or not. Then Hercules remembers the past. And we go to a flashback of 9 years ago when Hercules was living in Athens with King Sato, and that he was the one who asked him to go on a killing mission for Tabin al-Jushi. He also wondered how to kill them, then returned and presented the head of the expression to the king. Arquinius also had a wife and children. Then we return to reality, and Hercules enters the king's room. Then the king tells him that he wants it for a big mission, which is to kill one of the most famous and powerful kings, King Enos, and tells him that this King Enos has with him an army of demons and also of humans, half of whom are horses, and that he is a sorcerer and a sorcerer. And Hercules hears the words of the king until the end, and then Heracles knows what the king is up to. His team and the king said that Hercules, the monster who cannot be defeated, brought with him a woman like Armanda. But Armanda surprised the king with her abilities in throwing arrows. Then Hercules decides to go to war with the king, but he tells him that he needs an army to train him, and the king Hercules tells him that there are only peasants here. Hercules and his team go down and try to train these peasants to fight in any way. But unfortunately, it is very difficult because they do not have any knowledge about weapons. Hercules goes to the queen to talk to him, but the king heard the words of one of the army and decided that the attack on Anus would take place within 1 day. As for Hercules, he tried to prevent him and told him that his men were peasants and needed a lot of training. But the king told him, "Hercules Amal, why are we bringing you here, Pasha?" What is it to kill Enos basically alone, and at night while they are sleeping we have workers who walk around to see where Hercules is? But he sees why while he is sleeping, so he goes and stands next to him and he feels and gets up, and he is going to kill Lyn. But Hercules blooms, and he gives it away. He tells Lyn not to come close to you again. We know that Lege was essentially born into war and lived his entire life fighting. That's why he kills anyone he meets. The next morning, Hercules comes down and prepares everything for the war. He looks into the middle of the army ranks and finds Roy with them. He comes out and tells him that he is not a fighter. He won't stay with them. His mission is also to tell stories to people. They go to the village where I live. When they enter, it will be empty. But to their surprise, Aenus turned out to ambush them and bring a group of mountain attackers, and they attack them too. But our ungrateful hero grabs the tip of an arrow and puts it in the brain of the leader of the attackers. He tells the entire army to surround the king to protect him. Hercules takes his team and attacks the attackers, killing many of them. But at this time, the attackers were being killed in the peasant army in order to kill the king. But Hercules comes up with an idea and makes Nadi ride the stagecoach that he has, and he and the Kales surround the attackers. And they start killing them all. After the battle is not over, he goes to rest, but Hercules does not keep silent and goes to the king and tells him that because of his haste, many soldiers died because of him, and that the army of peasants was the last of them to plant potatoes in the land. In the shadow of the battlefield at that time, the king hears Hercules' words and tells him that Heidi has enough time for the soldiers to train. Hercules orders his team to attack the soldiers, and at night Jamila comes with first aid and takes Hercules to a tent far away, and also gives him medicines and other things for the wounds he has, and tells him that the soldiers couldn't see him bleeding like that, because that is how they will know that he is a human being like them, not a god, as he always tells in stories. Then you let Hercules sleep while he was asleep, dreaming of the day his wife and children would be killed, and I don't know who killed them, but his hand is full of blood. King Zato says that Hercules was the one who killed them, and he judges him in front of the whole city and exiles him outside the city. At that time, Hercules wakes up terrified and goes outside the tent and sees preparations for his wife and children being killed. And he also sees predatory animals eating them and trying to hit these animals. But of course all of this is speculation and not real. He comes back from the tent and sleeps again. The next morning he goes out and finds Nadi sitting in front of his tent, and he tells him that he knows everything. He also knows the nightmare that is coming to him, and the blood that he sees on his hands. In order to get rid of this dream, he will not find the monster he dreams about, and he will also find out who killed his children and his wife, and take their rights. Then Jamila goes and sits with Lige and Hermanda. She also asks them about Hercules. Then Lego tells her that Hercules is not a god, and all the things that are said are just myths that they invented. This is because the kings and pirates need them and need Hercules to take gold from them. He also tells her that Hercules is very strong and has great strength. It can also surpass any god. His wife and children died while he was exiled from his country. But he doesn't remember who killed them, nor does he remember how this happened. And he began to train the soldiers with his difference, and they were really able to train them. They also make them strong warriors, and they can face anything. Then Hercules will be with the king in the tent. They decide that they will begin the attack on Anus and his army in a mountainous area. Hercules goes to tell his team, but the first one goes to talk to Nadi and asks him if he saw anything in the fire and knew that there was gain or loss in this war. But then Nadi told him that the fire did not reach anything, but the only thing he knew was that the time of his death was near. At that time, we began to understand that this club was aware of the time in which he would die and of the war in which he would die, and they prepared themselves and actually went to the place in which they would fight. When they arrived, they did not find him, Anus, or the soldiers who were with him, but suddenly they find Anus and his army descending from afar, and here the battle begins. It will be a very strong war. And King Jerash also discovers that one of his men has turned out to be a traitor, and he was conveying the news to Anus. Anus and his men are superior in numbers and also in weapons, and he throws fireworks at Hercules, But Hercules is able to unite the ranks of the army and make them hold together, and Armanda intervenes, but hers is able to disperse them. Enos and his army are able to the extent that Hercules and the team with him are able to eliminate half of his army and also allow the rest to escape and be arrested and taken with him to the kingdom of the king. But Enos, as long as he is walking, keeps screaming and telling Hercules that he chose the person and that Al-Malikash is the one who is unjust. And after Enos goes in, the trial in front of people is beautiful. It looks at him. There was also a great sadness in her eyes. Hercules takes his mind and goes after her and asks her. Then she cries and tells him that Anus is not unjust, because he also wanted to liberate all of Greece. Also, I am not a wizard or a magician. Then Lego tells her that Hercules is not a god. And all these words were said by the king, and that her father was the one who was wronged, and that he killed her husband and also threatened her, that he would kill her son if she did not help. Then Hercules becomes angry and wants to go to the king. But he finds that the army commander heard him, and Jamila Hercules goes to the king and quarrels with him and tells him that he laughed at him and let him fight an entire army that had no shame. He also remembers the alliance he called his club. He meant the Heracles-Myak alliance, which actually caused the death of many people. The king says that he no longer wants anything from him. If that's the end of his mission, you will also throw him the gold they agreed upon. Hercules comes out and talks to the rest of his team. He tells them that he will not leave here and that he must liberate this people from the oppressive king. He also asks them to free Anus before they kill him. They all agree except him. Then Hercules leaves all the gold behind him and takes Armanda, Nadi, and Maru, and they enter and are also able to kill the soldiers outside the palace. But as soon as they enter the palace, they find many soldiers around them, and they cannot help but kill them. They capture Hercules and his team and bring them in to imprison them. At this time, the king is pulling Len, but Len is able to put a broken lion's tooth in Hercules' hands, and one of the soldiers hits Hercules on the head, causing him to faint. When he got up, he found himself tied to iron chains, and his whole team is locked up around him as well. He sees in front of him the monster that he always dreams of, and this monster comes out of the hills and finds the king standing next to them at that time. And at that time he looks at Hercules and tells the Hercules boss that he laughed at him. He was also the one who killed his family. He also had a sleeping pill in his winery. That's why he couldn't save them or even remember anything that happened. And he did all this to get rid of him because we fear that his power will make the people love him and make him the king. They will be hanging beautiful, and they will kill her. But Hercules, without warning, suddenly felt a very strong force inside him. He can use his hand to cut the iron chains on the ground. He gets up and hits everyone present, grabs 3 wolves, and continues to fight with them until he is able to break the necks of 2 wolves. As for the third one, he had his neck pierced with the tooth of the lion he had with him. At this time, Jamila escapes and opens the cell door for the team of Hercules. They go out and help him and also start attacking the soldiers with him. He catches him and continues to hit him. And after that, he takes him to the throne and puts peace inside his heart to avenge his family. Then the army commander comes and takes Hercules with a rope around his neck, and that's it. He'll kill him. But Anus comes out of prison and kills the leader. He takes Hercules with him, and they go out. But they meet King Yash, holding him soft and holding a knife on his neck. He will also have the rest of the army that Hercules attacked. But at this time, he is reviewing himself. As soon as he sees what is happening, he throws an arrow at the soldier holding the knife to Lynn's neck. Armanda got up and she also threw away the shares in her hands. They also get into a big fight with each other. Hercules searches for Lynn and Jamila and brings them into the palace. There will be a large tent in front of the palace. Hercules knocks him down, killing the largest number of soldiers. The beetle's brain also falls on the makeup and covers it. Hercules and his team continue to quarrel with the soldiers who followed the king until in the end they finish them off. And Nas is the one who is appointed king of Greece. He makes him and his team the leaders of the army so that they can begin their journey with goodness. Until here our movie ends today. I hope you were happy with us, my friend. Don't forget to support us with a like and a subscribe and activate the bell to receive our notifications first. I hope you are doing well, my friends. Hello. Then Lego tells her that Hercules is not a god.